Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Random Crafty Acts, or welcome back to Random Crafty Acts. My name is Barb. I am working on some Christmas cards because I donate Christmas cards every year to an organization that is listed in the description below. And my goal is to always put 200 cards in the box, and we're getting pretty close to that now. I think we're up to about 90. And we're just going to keep plugging along. So since this is a mass making project, I have gone through, if you've seen in some of the previous videos that I'll list also below, I went through all of my Christmas paper that I had accumulated over time. And today I pulled out this one sheet. This is a piece of 12 by 12 paper that, since it's got the branding strip on it and it's in a single sheet like this, probably pick this up someplace like Michael's. I have no idea, to be honest. But since I want to make several cards and I'm mass making, my first go-to person is always Jess from Jess Crafts, and I'll link her below as well. But she has a lot of templates that she makes available. This one is specifically for 12 by 12. As you can see, it's template number 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut 3 by 4 all the way through, and then we're going to take 6 of them, since we're going to make 6 cards, and we cut them on the diagonal and put those pieces here. Now, I already did a lot of work looking through everything I've got to see what I want to do color-wise. So I'm going to put them on. We're going to use a white card base. Okay, we're going to use blue for the around the inside piece. All right, and then in the center, we're going to have, in the center of those pieces, we're going to have these squares that say Happy Holidays. And we're also, these are 2 by 2, and we're going to cut some some squares that are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 to put these on in the middle of this, and I think that'll look great. Okay, so let's get started. Having looked at what we're supposed to be doing, and she has her own videos out there on these, and they are wonderful. I highly recommend her. Okay, so the first thing I know she would have me do would be to cut off the branding strip. And on some paper like this, the strips actually have a pattern. Okay. In this case, it doesn't, so I'm going to throw that out. Okay, this is what is referred to as non-directional paper. What that means is if it's this way or this way or this way, there's no upside down, right side up. So we can just cut we're going to cut 3-inch strips is what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to start here at the factory edge. I always like to start with that just in case maybe my edge over there was a little bit crooked. Not that, you know, that happens. 1, 2, 3. 4. That is my air conditioner that you hear running in the background. It is July. I am in Southern Illinois, and we are having what is being called the hottest day of the year so far. And the last time I checked, the heat index was rapidly approaching 115, and the temperature was outside was rapidly approaching triple digits. So inside is better than outside for me right now. Okay, so now these are 4 inches. So how you make these decisions when you're working with a template like this, I always like to point that out in case you're a beginning card maker, and that is you always look for the cut lines that run from one edge of the paper to the other. Okay, because sometimes like these will be different kinds of pieces, and if that was the case, then you would want to cut here and then cut these. Okay, so we're going to cut the 4-inch squares next out of these 3. All right, so we'll line those up at 4. So that's 1, 2. Just going to start a stack. Okay, and then notice how this is like just a little bit off, and that is common with a lot of paper. That's why that, considering that we're going to put that inside a frame, we want to make sure that it's exactly 4. There are probably some circumstances where that really wouldn't make that much of a difference. Okay, I want to check to make sure my frame is set up okay up here, and yes, it is. Okay. And I cut all of these first, and then I'll go back and I'll pull out the 6. And I'll show you then why there is a specific reason that I do it that way. And it has to do with where all these little images fall, since in some respects these squares here are basically a big part of being what's referred to as the focal point. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to need this again in just a second. All right, so I want to just kind of like to see that one and that one and that one. Okay. I guess it really doesn't matter because I'm going to put something right in the middle of it. Kind of like how that piece sticks out the top. And there's no right or wrong answer here. This is just, I mean, it's, again, the 3. Just a little bit of an interruption. We had a internet emergency. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 4, 5. 6. 5, 6. Okay, I'm just going to set these out of the way. All right, cutting on the diagonal. I think I need to tilt it this way. Okay, and I always match these, so I haven't really gotten into a situation where like this one and the top one that I flip around doesn't work, but I'm not in the mood to take chances today. So, all right, and then we cut this one. Okay. This is a time of year, I like to do these videos this time of year because a lot of people start thinking about getting started on their Christmas cards. Depending on how ornate you make your Christmas cards, I can get pretty, it can be pretty time consuming. Let me see if I can mend that. Okay, I'll have to see. I'm going to take this one, since that was kind of a miscut, and set it aside, just so that I'm not whipping down through there and suddenly find one where all of a sudden it's not working and I don't remember that I kind of messed that one up. Okay. Okay. All right, so we have all that done. And then since these are 3 by 4, we're going to need 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I have a sheet somewhere that I wrote down where I put it. The best way to cut this to get it to come out. Well, we'll just try to remember. Okay, so 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Let's see how many of these we can get. So if we start with the 3 1/4, and then we go 4 1/4. Okay, that looks like that worked pretty well. All right, and I'm just gonna keep building my stacks here. Right, and then we'll do another 3 1/4. So basically I laid the 8 1/2 by 11 landscape. And then I do this one 3 1/4. Okay. And then 4 1/4. When I'm looking at how to put the layers together, I usually take whatever size I've got and just add a 1/4 of an inch. That puts a little bit around the outside. I don't do math, okay? Not everybody does math. That's a big misconception that everybody does math. We don't. Some of us do words. Four and a quarter, and then the one that goes with the Misfit toy. Okay, that's 6 backgrounds out of one piece of 8 1/2 by 11 with this strip, and this is a size strip that comes in handy for using for odds and ends. If I was cutting something little, I could do it with my die cuts there. Okay, so let's see how big this is. That's exactly 2 inches, and this is exactly 2 inches, so that won't work there. And you notice I just take like my little bits and I set them aside, and I do that until I get done with the project. Okay, so measuring this again, these are 2 by 2. And so I want 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, so I tend to cut the long piece first. Okay. And I'll see how many of these I'm going to get out of here. And yes, I'm sure if I had a math mind, somewhere in my head, it would be doing all the number things right now, even as we speak. And so that gives me 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Right, so I'm going to cut another 2 1/4. And I'll get 3 out of this. Which is what I need for that. It's 1, 2, 3. When I was playing with the colors, I had some brown out that was not quite right. And okay, and then I always do this. I like measure to, so that's a 5 1/2, which is, this is a good size sheet, so I'm not going to cut anything off of this. I'm just going to lay this aside. on my scraps. So we're done with the cutting for a few minutes. Probably more than a few minutes. I'm probably not gonna video putting all of these together. So we're gonna try some things here and see what we think. Okay, so this goes like that. That looks a little different from the way it does on hers. Let me see. Oh, that's because she does it this way. I don't think that really makes any difference, but let's just try that and see. And what I'm doing, this is like, I'm kind of like dry fitting to make sure if there's like something else I want to do, I can do it before I start putting glue on things. Okay, that in the center doesn't show up very well, does it? Take the blue out. Well, I don't like it like that. I had some brown. Oh, I think I like the brown better. I wish you were here and you could just tell me which way to do it. I think if I put the brown in there, and I cut this out of that, I don't really like the way that looks. Okay, I'm just going to leave it on the blue because that's what I've got cut. So let's put one together. And then I'll pause the video and do the other 5 real quick. There is an idea that kind of occurs to me here, but I don't know that I really... One of the things I could do is I could cut another square in white and layer that on the outside of that, so that there was a white edge around it, but I don't think I like that idea. I'm using Barely Arts glue. You'll notice that as I'm fitting these pieces, I like to have what's referred to as wiggle room, where if I need to slide it around a little bit, I can. The other thing that makes a big difference here is that this pattern works regardless of which direction it sets. Okay, now I'm going to place this piece first and then center my other piece in the middle. I'm kind of lining this here. Something like that. Okay. That doesn't look too bad against hers. Okay, I'm going to pause the video. Okay. I know it just like happens like magic, like, you don't even know I was gone. And I wasn't gone long. That was very quick, like 15 minutes maybe, which is how fast you can put some of this stuff together because you have everything pre-cut. And it's not just the pre-cutting that makes it go together quickly or makes it move quickly, and that is, I spent a good amount of time just like trying to match the paper. Also like looking through the templates to figure out what I felt like doing. Okay. And then thinking about like what order I wanted to cut things in. And of course the big part, which was cleaning off my craft table. Okay. So, I sent this one out here because this is the one that got miscut. And I'm trying to see where I'm going to have the most trouble with that. Okay, so it looks like it's just this little sliver here. So the first thing I'm going to do is dry fit this to see. Okay. I'm going to put this one down here just because I don't want the berries to be upside down. Yeah, see, and then the berries are right side up. Okay, so in this case, I don't think that miscut is going to make that much of a difference. If I had felt like it was going to, what I could have done would have been laid the two pieces together, put them in the cutter, and then sliced a piece off. They would have been a little smaller, but for this design, I don't think we would have seen any difference. Okay, so that fits there, this fits here. These go together. I'll put all 6 of the cards out so you can see them. Yeah, so this was actually pretty quick. One of the other things I looked at with this pattern was a different color cardstock here. I had some kind of, it calls itself parchment color. It's kind of a cross between the white and the cream. And while that would have worked sort of, once I actually started laying the pieces on top of each other, the different tones started to come out. And then I'm gonna stamp the back of them. This is the stamp that my granddaughter designed and handmade for me. And since I've been card making, I put this on the back of all of my cards. And it says Random Acts of Kindness Studios. I'm not a studio, I'm an independent, obsessive card maker who doesn't work for anybody but herself. I do donate all of my cards. I've had a couple of people in the card makers community Facebook group asking me if I sell my cards. I do not. I looked at what it would cost me to make cards, how much I would have to charge in order to make anything that even began to be considered a profit. I looked at the different venues that I would have to sell them through if I sold online, and I also looked at what I had available here in my area for craft shows and what it cost to get a booth, and none of that was going to work for me. I used to, a good number of years ago, I made scarves, and I sold them at craft shows, and I will say that it was some of the most fun I have ever had. People who do craft shows are wonderful, friendly, helpful, encouraging, inspiring folks, but it was also a lot of work. So, all right, so there are 6 cards. I have a box over here that has 10 cards in them. So I will add these 6 to them, and that will make 16. I'm looking at the box across the room where it says 80 Christmas cards, so 16 and 80. Yes, I know I don't do math, but that's 96. So probably sometime over the next couple of hours, I'm going to try to make 4 more cards out of something so that I end the day with an even number of 100. All right. Thank you. Please check in the description box below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it would be helpful to me if you did that. I'm not monetizing, but I am trying to get word on beginning card making and the donation sites out to people. And if the more people I have subscribed, the more likelihood that will happen. If you have any questions, please leave them in the area below, and I will try to get back to you. Thank you very much.